Good morning. How loud should a data center be allowed to be? Well, the county government is getting to work on answering just that kind of question. For Friday, September 26th, it's your Loudoun Now Morning Minute. Mark your calendar for Saturday, October 4th for the next Tales and Ales storytelling show. Tales and Ales invites everyday people to tell true, extraordinary stories live on stage. And each show raises funds for local nonprofits. Reserve your seat for the October 4th show at Crooked Run Fermentation in Sterling at talesandales.org. That's talesandales.org. Thanks for being with us. I'm Rince Green. The Loudoun Board of Supervisors is getting ready to set up some new regulations on data centers for things like their architecture, noise, and emissions. Earlier this month, they approved a plan to start work on coming up with those new regulations. The plan is not just restrictive on data centers. They also say they want to support the evolving needs of data centers with an eye toward things like generating power on site. But it will be more than a year before these new regulations come into play. New county regulations typically have a process before they get passed. This project has a 14-month timeline, starting with county staffers doing research and coming up with draft regulations. Then the Planning Commission goes to work on those drafts before passing something up to the Board of Supervisors for discussion and final approval. The schedule calls for adopting these new regulations in December 2026. The board has a list of 15 topics they want to hit. They're planning on new rules governing backup generators, noise analysis, visual screening and architectural features, sustainability certifications, setbacks from residential areas, on-site power sources, district energy, alternative cooling systems, lighting standards, solar, building height, potential future transmission line locations, base load power, and indoor utility substations. This is the latest in the board's work on data center regulations. Earlier this year, they changed zoning laws to prohibit data centers being built by right anywhere in the county. Previously, there were areas where zoning allowed data centers with only administrative review or by right, which means only going through county staff. Now, any new data centers need public hearings and approval from the County Board of Supervisors, but you may still see more data centers go up that were approved before that new law was passed. If history's any guide, there will be plenty of debate around these new regulations, so go to loudounnow.com/morningminute to check out the whole story. In other news, county supervisors are also considering a third historical marker recognizing the lynching of a black Loudouner. One marker memorializing Orion Anderson stands along the W&OD Trail in Leesburg. Anderson, a 14-year-old, was lynched after being accused of assaulting a white girl, according to research by the Loudoun NAACP. He was initially released after the girl was unable to identify him as the assailant, but he was rearrested on circumstantial evidence. November 8, 1889, in the middle of the night, Anderson was seized by 100 men and hanged at the freight depot. No one was convicted for his murder. A second marker memorializing Charles Craven stands at East Market Street in Leesburg. Craven, estimated to be 25 years old at the time, was lynched in 1902 after being accused of murdering a white man. Soon after his arrest, a mob of 300 to 500 men stormed the jail, overwhelmed law enforcement, and seized Craven. They beat him and hanged him before shooting him hundreds of times. Craven proclaimed his innocence until his death. Once again, no one was convicted of his murder. A third marker would memorialize the lynching of Paige Wallace in 1880. Wallace was accused of escaping from the Leesburg jail and raping a white woman. He never got a trial. He was lynched near Point of Rocks. County supervisors have approved a review of the feasibility of building that marker through the Highway Marker Program of the Virginia Department of Historic Resources in collaboration with the county's Heritage Commission, the Loudoun Freedom Center, and the Loudoun branch of the NAACP. Scheduling in a trial for Purcellville Vice Mayor Carl Bennett and Town Manager Kwesi Frazier was delayed once again yesterday. They're both charged with felony bid rigging and commercial fraud against the town government. Nett faces 4 additional felony charges of misuse of a computer to invade someone's privacy, specifically a law enforcement database, before he was fired from the Purcellville Police Department. Prosecutors allege he used the database to look up former Mayor Stanley Milan, Councilmember Caleb Stott and his wife Erica, and one other unnamed individual. At the time, Nett was running for town council, and Milan and Stott were running on an opposing political slate. Nett and Fraser are scheduled to appear in court again on November 20th. And now for some fun news. Lovettsville's Oktoberfest is back this year, and it's bigger than ever. The festivities kick off tonight and continue through Sunday evening. There's music, dancing, a 5K, plenty of stuff for kids, a Stein hoisting competition, and of course, the famous wiener dog races will return. Longtime champion Huck Holtz is expected to return to defend the Kaiser Cup. There's plenty more going on, so get the full story on this and all these stories over at loudounnow.com. On today's Get Out Loudoun calendar, well, I already mentioned Oktoberfest, but here are some other ideas. October 1 Vineyard and the Humane Society of Loudoun will host their monthly Yappy Hour at October 1 Wine Shop in Leesburg from 4 to 7 p.m. So bring a donation of pet food or money to help cover much-needed medical expenses for homeless and at-risk animals, and maybe even find a new pet to adopt. Nathaniel Davis will play Quattro Goombas Brewery at 5, and Owen and Lee will play Bear Chase Brewing Company tonight at 6. Check out the rest of the events calendar at getoutloudon.com. And if you like the Morning Minute, play it with your phone down real low to the ground to tell all the wiener dogs about it, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and it'll be waiting for you there every morning. Okay, have a great day.